Welcome to Creative Pages with Catherine. I'm Catherine, and today I am going to be putting together some patriotic DIYs as part of a YouTube challenge. Our hosts today are Brenda from Rustic and Lace DIY and Robin from Crafts Unleashed by Robin. You can find links to their channels as well as the entire playlist in the description box below this video. There's also going to be a couple other things in the description box, so you are definitely going to want to check down there today. I am going to be working with our Called to Serve collection, and I am going to be putting together a 2-page layout from our 101 Scrapbooking Ideas and Sketches book. And we'll be working from page 52 in the book if you have one to follow along. And if not, don't worry, I will show you what page it's from. And I'm going to link the original blog post in the description box below this video. You got it. So let's get to it. Oh, I almost forgot. I also am going to be putting together 5 cards from 2 sheets of our designer paper, and you'll see how it all comes together pretty quickly and easily. If you would like a copy of the card cutting guide, I don't think I can link it in the description box below the video. I will try. If I can get it, I will. And if not, then please comment or email me with your email address, because I don't want you sticking your email address in a comment. Email me. My email is in the description box below, because I don't want you putting your email address in the comments below. I don't want anybody getting caught by scammers or anything, because we know how they are running rampant all over social media. So now let's get into these projects. I'm super excited about it. Here we go. Here it is, our sketch, and I always hold it up closer if you would like a screenshot of the mat sizes that I'm going to be using for this layout. I also pulled out my flag banner punch to use for that border you saw on each side of our page. You could use a couple of your border stickers from your sticker sheets with this collection, but I'm going to go ahead and use our border punch because I had a scrap from the last layout I did with this collection, and I thought this was a perfect opportunity to use up part of that scrap anyways. I am using a sheet of navy cardstock for one side of my layout and our hot fudge cardstock for the other side of our layout. We are going to start by pulling in that flag banner. I used the, okay, let me pull these out here real quick from my mats. I used this camouflage paper that has these green arrows on the back side for the banner we're using on this side of the page. And then this was my 8-inch piece left over from the other layout. It has the white grid on the back of it. And this is going to be my under banner, if you will. So I did punch this one at 12 inches. I punched this one at 8 inches. We are going to cut off the little bit of extra that I had just from having that 8 inches. On the right side of the page, my banner is going to be the star side of our blue paper. And then again, I punched a second one from my scrap. And then, as you can see, we're going to be using the leftover pieces for mats on our page. And I went a little bit smaller with the mats than what I usually do on this one, because that's what seemed to fit with this layout. So let me go ahead and cut off this one extra. The flag banner punch, it punches in 3s. And I wound up with one extra coming off, and I just wanted the symmetry. I think I've talked about symmetry before, And yes, I do like symmetry, and that's what we're going for here. If you want to leave that extra piece on, that's up to you. But for me, I am using my scissors and cutting that off. We are going to put these both on my silicone mat. I'm going to grab out my repositionable tape, and we're going to get some tape on both of these. And I'm going to actually start with this one. I'm going to center it a 1/2 inch in, and I am going to be using my zero centering ruler because it does have a marking, and it says 1 inch here, but this is a 1/2 inch in. So I'm going to line that up at the edge of my paper, so that way I know I'm a 1/2 inch in. I need to flip it because my line wasn't going all the way down on that side. It's going all the way down on this side, and it still has the number 1 there, marking it. And then we're also going to center our punch. So it's going to be right at 3 3/4, because remember I started with an 8-inch piece of paper, and then I took off that extra little piece. So it looks like the piece that we cut off was about a 1/2 inch. And we'll do the same thing on the other side in a minute, but first let's get this left side of the page put together. I usually put together the left side and then the right. Okay, and I have 3 mats and 1 journal box for this side of the page, or you could easily not include the extra piece of white cardstock that I cut to layer in here as a journal box. You could do a photo in this last one. My mats for this side are 4 inches by 5 inches, so a little smaller than what I usually do. But this is what I was working with from the scrap, and I wanted to go ahead and use up some of these papers that I already had on hand. It's nice to be able to finish off a full sheet of paper. So these are going to get placed with a little bit of space in between them. We're kind of going to be creating a little bit of a definition through the middle of the page here, with about 1 inch between vertically and horizontally on our page. Now this journal box for the mat is a little bit smaller because it came from that original scrap I had from that other layout. This one is 4.5 by 4 inches, and the piece I cut to layer in for the journal box is 4 1/4 by 3 3/4, and I just used white cardstock for that. So we have just a little bit of a outline showing from our other camo. I also pulled a couple of our stickers. We have Freedom Will Defend. That's going to go down in this bottom corner here. And I have a blue star for the top of the page. Grab a foam square for this one, so that way my photos are going to go nicely onto my mats, or onto my photo mats up here, without interfering with the sticker at all. There we go. So the left side of our page is now done. Here we go. And there we go. Grab out your blue cardstock, or your navy cardstock, I should say. We're going to go ahead and start again with our repositionable tape and our borders again, our flagged banner border. And many of you know that we are an active duty military family, so this is a collection that really is close to my heart. I love that this playlist was patriotic, and since we don't actually have a 4th of July collection out, I thought this was a perfect time to showcase our Call to Serve collection here. And I just went ahead and centered this the same as I did on the other side, a 1/2 inch in. And I centered it on my 0 centering ruler, right around that 3 3/4 inch mark. And then this other banner is going to layer over. All right. So back to our patriotic playlist. I just it just seemed like it would be perfect time to do this, and especially the cards. I love that I can showcase 5 cards from not even a half a sheet of paper to send to service members, or if you know somebody that's serving that you might want to send a coffee gift card to brighten their day, or even a lunch. I'm sure they would really appreciate it. Our soldiers work hard, and there are so many of them that are still deployed right now. To let them know that you're thinking of them is a wonderful thing. Okay, so I am going to try to line this up similar to how I did on the other side of the page. Let me line this up just so that way I can get this straight through our page. I'm going a little bit closer in for our center pieces, if you will, because then this essentially gives me that inch right here. And then I will go with that inch in between our other parts. There we go. And just kind of eyeballing the center of this other one. And again, like I said, this smaller mat you can use for a photo, or you know what, tell a bigger story if you want. I know one of our duty posts, we had a lot of tanks, and my kids, when they were younger, they used to love and go climbing on some of the outdoor tanks, and we would take pictures of them. And so I think it would just be a great layout for, if you've gone to visit a military museum or any base, really. Photos of that would work perfectly on this page layout. So I have when duty calls, and I can't decide. I think I actually am going to pop that one up as well. Let's go ahead and do it. Go for it. Grab a couple small foam squares for each end. I guess I probably could have cut this one in half, but we're just going to go ahead and place them down. And then I also have a brown star in this one because we are bringing in the colors back through the pages. Any of you who've watched any of my videos, you know that I am particular about color. I am a chef as well and a food technologist. And I guess people eat with their eyes first, and I like making aesthetically pleasing pages to put my photos on as well. So that is our right side of the page I need to hold up for you, and then we can see them both together here. And I will bring back in the sketch as well. And here's our sketch again. And you can see how I did turning this one into a 2-page layout based on our sketch. Leave me a thumbs up if you like it, and a comment is always appreciated. Let's go ahead and get our cards made now as well. And now it's time for our cards. This is my fast card formula that I am using to put this together, put together by our Creative Memories home office. If you would like a copy of this, send me an email. I will try to link it in the description box below, but if you don't see it there, send me an email. I am going to be working to put together all 5 cards. I have pre-cut and pre-pieced everything because I want to keep things a little bit more efficient for the playlist. And you are definitely welcome to request some instructions of your own as well. Card number 1 is here. So I had the 2 sheets, the one sheet that has the stars with the words in blue on the back, and the one with the chevron and the solid camo on the back of it. And we're going to go ahead and start sticking things down according to what my instructions are telling me. This one's going to go directly to the end here. And these cards are so simple. It's mostly strips. You do need your square and your circle punch. I have substituted my firecracker punch for the circle punch because I thought it was a little bit more patriotic to fit with our playlist. I will be adding a few stickers as well once I get all 5 of these assembled. So, but first things first, I wanted to get them put together. This one, I want to make sure it gets in the center, so let me pull out my 0 centering ruler really quick here. Our cards are 5.5. So I need to line up at the 2 3/4 mark is between my 0 here, which runs through the 6. This piece is a 1/2 inch. I'm sorry, it's a 1 inch piece. So it goes at each 1/2 inch above and below our 0 on our ruler. That's the nice thing about the 0 centering rulers. The 0 is in the center all the time, and it helps us to line things up quickly and efficiently. Now, for this particular card, I did not follow the instructions the way it's written because I wanted you to reverse a couple of your pieces, and I didn't really like how the camo looked interspersed. So I just left it all with the other. And on this one as well, you're supposed to flip over one of these firecrackers or circles if you punch it with your circle punch. And I liked it better with the camo side up, so that's what I'm doing. This is a slightly shorter piece, so you put it in about 1/8 of an inch, or with 1/8 of an inch border all the way around. And then we're going to go ahead and get our 3 firecracker pieces on here. I just thought it didn't look the way I wanted it to, so that's why I went ahead and switched it up a little bit. That is part of the beauty of paper crafting, is all of our designer papers are double-sided, so you can easily make the choice as to which side you want up on your layouts. It makes it easy to do cards like this because you can just use the 5.5 inch piece of designer paper by 12 inch and create these beautiful cards using both sides of your designer paper. One other thing I will say is that it does recommend starting at 6 inches with your paper, and that is something else that I did not follow because I knew I could get away with doing it at 5.5 and save myself that other rest of the paper, that other 1/2 inch, for my layout. And I'll show you what I had left. I still wound up with a little bit left over at the end here. And then these three are going to be touching as well. And I think I reversed one of these also because of the firecracker, the way it punched. I actually wound up with that star right in the middle of the firecracker somehow. It wasn't intentional, but it just happened. And so I thought, you know what? We're going to use it with the star showing. Because how often is that going to happen? There we go. So here's number 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And I'm going to go ahead and grab some stickers to put on there. This is what I have left from my paper. I did cut this one out because I had a little snag and it just was easier, but I can use this as part of that whole punching with intention. I wound up with pretty much an entire row here that I can use on another project. I can actually use these pieces from my firecracker on something else as well. In fact, I wonder if we should do that. Let me grab my scissors and cut this out. Look at that with the red star highlighting right there. You just never know where you'll find a use for a scrap. Let me grab out my stickers. Oh, and this is what the it's actually fireworks. I apologize, I called it by the wrong name. It's our fireworks punch. Is the one I used in place of the circle punch. I pulled out my call to serve stickers, and we are going to use some of these on each of our cards. I've also pulled out my foam squares in case we want to pop anything up along the way. If you'll remember, well, I did go ahead and cut out this scrap, so I'm going to grab my repositionable tape so I can put this on. And I liked highlighting this one red star. It just seemed fitting. Because I'm a little crooked here. Hang on, let me straighten this out just a little bit. I don't know if that was from when I was punching or what, but here, this way I can line this up with this edge here on the end of my paper. There we go. That looks great. And then I pulled out this honor sticker. We're going to place this one down. I will say that if you do add foam squares to cards, you will need to add a little extra postage when you ship it. So we'll add foam squares to some, but not to all of these, because some you just might want to hand to a soldier that you see. All right, next we have these 4 stars in our, oops, I'm sorry, I should have held that one up for you. This is our first card, card number 1. Card number 2, I've got selfless that we're going to put right here in the center, and this one is going to get popped up using some of our small foam squares. And really, this cutting guide can be used with any of our collections. And then I've also got these stars that we're going to add as well. I think I'm going to put this darker one in the top corner. We're just going to center these on our squares. All right, card number 2 is done. There we go. card number 3. This one I'm simply adding this unsung hero to that I found. I thought it worked well with the colors on our card, and this one we're going to place directly on the card up here. Card number 3 is done. So some are simpler than others. This one we're going to create a cluster on for a Veterans Day card. And this is one of those where, when I was saying about maybe gifting a soldier a lunch or something like that, Veterans Day is probably one of the perfect days to do it. We had some poppies in our sticker set that I'm just going to go ahead and layer these two together, and we're going to pop those up as well. There's 2 foam squares on this. And that's going to go over here. All right. Perfect day to give a soldier a coffee or a lunch. And the poppies just fit so perfectly with that. And finally, our 5th card, we have this called to serve. And again, I think I am going to go ahead and pop this one up as well. Oops. There we go. Sometimes the hardest thing about foam squares is getting the backings off of them. There's that one. And then we have a silhouette of a saluting soldier that I thought just really seemed fitting for this. We're going to place it a little bit lower on the card here. And there is card number 5. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining me for the patriotic playlist. Please don't forget to check the description box for the links to our host and to the entire playlist. I hope you enjoyed my projects. Please leave me a thumbs up if you did. Until next time.